Toastmasters, and guests. Life is like a wheel. Sometimes it's up, and sometimes it's down. I learned this quote from my parents when I was a kid in the Philippines. I heard this quote so many times, especially when life was difficult, and I started to compare my life from other kids. And my parents said, "Don't worry, it's okay. Trust me, someday it's going to be the other way around." Today, I will share with you the life that I had growing up as a kid in the Philippines. The experience that made me who I am today, what I want to do with my life, and how I want to raise my kids. I came from a big family. And when I say big, it's really big. I have 4 brothers and 6 sisters. That's big, right? My mother was 16 when she got married. She just had a 6th grade level of education. But even if she didn't go to college, she was very clever and has a lot of self-confidence. My father was 19. He didn't go to college either. But he is so smart that he can fix anything that's broken inside and outside our house. He is a good mechanic, and he is the most hardworking guy that I've ever known in my life. But no matter how hard he worked, money is not enough to support his 11 children. Growing up in a 2-bedroom house without beds is not really that bad. Sharing one faucet with 4 other families is not that bad either. What I didn't like when I was a kid was using the bathroom in the middle of the night when there were thunderstorms. Thunderstorms in the Philippines last for 2 or 3 days. No running water, no electricity. I hated it when I had to wake up my father in the middle of the night to come with me to use the bathroom. I had to carry my umbrella and my flashlight. It's even harder to sit on the potty while you're holding your umbrella. I couldn't put it down because our roof was covered with holes. Unlike most American kids who has all sorts of toys, I had marbles, bottle caps, and pieces of broken tiles I played with. And I was so happy to have them because I earned each of them. I remember when I was in 6th grade, my sister gave me a Barbie doll. That was my first doll. And I put it in a plastic bag and put it inside my closet. Never played with it. Because I didn't want it to get dirty. I wanted to keep it new and clean forever. My mother trained me when I was in 1st grade to do grocery shopping. Grocery shopping there is not the same as your grocery shopping here, where you just pick what you want and you pay for them. It's like going to a giant farmer's market. You have to be smart and good at haggling, especially if you're a kid, because people can easily rip you off. I remember when I was in 3rd grade, wearing my muumuu dress, carrying my basket, and so proud of myself that I could do it on my own. I didn't mind going to the market every day as one of my chores. What I didn't like is that when I get home from school and my sister would hand me a basket with a list of things to get from the store without any money, it means I have to talk to the vendors to lend us food. And I was so embarrassed to do that. I hated doing it. But I didn't have a choice. My mother was gone from church when I got home. I didn't want my father to come home from work without any food on the table. I remember myself crying on my way to the market when that thing happened. And it happened all the time. I learned how to make my own money at the early age. My mother is very, very good at haggling. She's an expert. So when she sent me to the market, I decided I had to beat her price. I had to be better than her so I can have money for recess. I would buy a bag of candy and sell them to my classmates in the classroom during class. I would buy a big bag of cheese doodles and use it for raffles during recess. Even when I was in high school, I would fill up my backpack with reject crackers and cookies. to sell to my classmates. Life got better when my sister came to America. She was 25 years old. She decided to come here to help out my family. My parents borrowed some money from her friends and family for her airfare and for her pocket money. She worked 3 jobs. She sent money to the Philippines all the time. We moved to a bigger house with beds. But after living in a bigger house for 8 years, our house burned down. We lost everything. We didn't have insurance. So we moved to a smaller house. My father built us a small house with 2 bedrooms. But we had beds this time. Because we lost everything, my other sister decided to follow my other sister. After a few years, my parents followed my other sisters. And then I followed them. And then my younger sister followed me. Just like my other sisters, I came here with just a bag of clothes and good self-ethic, good work habit. I worked in a Japanese restaurant fixing to-go orders. After a month, I became a waitress. After a few months, I became a chef. I became a manager. And then finally, I hit the jackpot. I met my husband. He was working on his degree in the university across from the Japanese restaurant where I worked. I would describe him as funny, very funny, caring, generous, trustworthy, and the most honest guy I've ever known in my life. He and I started a charity program 9 years ago. He takes students to the Philippines every summer to build a house, give clothes, medicine, and food for the needy. I also do a bunch of fundraising projects for our program. I collect clothes and toiletries all year round to send to the Philippines. I try to teach my kids to be giving. I told them that there's no reason to have so much while other people don't have any. I encourage them to get involved in my packing when I send stuff to the Philippines. Every time my husband goes to the Philippines, I ask money from our children to give their own money to donate for the kids in the Philippines. I also try to teach them to be good with money. I told them that money is for giving, sharing, and spending. When my parents told me that life is like a wheel, sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down, I thought our life will get better by itself because it's a cycle. That's what it's supposed to be. They didn't tell me how to turn that wheel. I learned it from my experience. I figured it out. I learned the hard way. Now that I have a better life compared to most people from the other side of the world, I have an obligation to do. And that is to help some people who want to turn their wheels too.